Welcome back to the best football show. As you can tell, I have not been in a film room for the last 9 days. I've been deep into the Caribbean, enjoying that life, refreshing, regenerating, recharging, all that kind of good stuff, and now ready for draft season, which really has already kicked off. But now that we're all headed to Indianapolis, including myself, I leave Thursday morning. The conversation around football and the 2025 season is in full bloom. And it's great. And I'm here for it. And we're going to be here almost daily talking about it because, honestly, going to Indianapolis, I feel like the first conversation that has to take place, that has already begun to take place, is the quarterback carousel that moves every year. And the quarterback carousel with free agents, trades, the names that we know that are out there, they generally drive a lot of the conversation, depending on how strong people view the upcoming quarterback draft, which in a word is not very strong. And it's not to knock Shadur Sanders or Cam Ward or Dak Shadur or anybody. It's just not the class that we saw last year. I don't think there's Jaden Daniels in this draft class. I don't think there's C.J. Stroud in this draft class. I don't think there's Bo Nix or Caleb Williams in this draft class. So the conversation right now is centered around Matthew Stafford. He wants a contract, a big contract. There are 9 or 10, not exactly sure, 9 or 10 quarterbacks making north of $50 million a year. Stafford wants to be in that conversation. And based on his performance and how he's played, he deserves to be in that conversation, regardless of age. So are the Rams willing to pay that? And if they're not, is Stafford going to be a free agent? Or is he going to get traded? And what's the draft compensation? Or what is that compensation if Stafford moves to Pittsburgh? If he moves to the Giants? Name a team. Pick a team. This is how the carousel moves. Who's the first chip to fall off the carousel? Is it Aaron Rodgers? Is it Kirk Cousins? Is it Justin Fields? Is it Russell Wilson? These are names that we're going to hear about. Now, the reason why this is important and why Indianapolis is important, this is baseball's version of the Spring League. This is a gathering of the important players involved in building teams. A lot of general managers, a lot of head coaches, a lot of personnel directors, all there. They're there for a lot of reasons. One of them is to begin these discussions and to start laying out groundwork for trades, where they're at in the draft position. Can they move up? If they want to move up, does somebody want to get in the top 3 to take Travis Hunter? Just throw the name out there. I don't know. Does somebody, like, the beginning discussions take place in Indianapolis. Everybody's there. And the way it works at Lucas Oil Stadium, and I've been there a number of times, and like I said, I'll be there Thursday. Each team has a luxury suite. So the AFC is on one side of the stadium, NFC on the other side of the stadium. You go in there, there's Mike Vrabel and, Cam Wolf and whatever. I mean, this is their each team. There's Howie Roseman. There's his group in Philadelphia. So that's how it's structured. Now, the NFL Combine is changing like everything else, okay? Some of it is driven by the agents representing these players. They don't want Shadur Sanders, Cam Ward, presumably the top 2 quarterbacks in this draft, probably are not going to throw. I like quarterbacks to throw. I enjoyed watching C.J. Stroud 3 years ago throw. It was 2 years ago. It was one of the best performances anybody had ever seen. He just went out there and played football. And the ball we saw it come out of his hand. We saw him compete. We saw him, the deep balls, play action passes, cross his body. We saw it. It was impressive. But it's changing. A lot of these guys, Abdul Carter is not going to test, all right? We saw Kayvon Thibodeau. He didn't test. I mean, it's happened. And I think we're going to see more and more of it. And I'm okay with it, honestly. There's pro days. There's private workouts. Guys get to throw on the field, wake up in their own bed, throw to the receivers that they know. It's a much more controlled environment. You could be more impressive right now if you're throwing to receivers that you've thrown to for the last 2 years, 3 years. I'm okay with it. I've been on the field watching these position groups literally compete. You can see the alpha males, the alphas that just first in every drill. I saw it at the Senior Bowl this year. I saw guys that lined up first for every single drill. Couldn't wait to demonstrate how to run the drill. There's things that you could glean. Now, one of the things that's important for the combine, and I'm not all about measurables and 40 times and vertical jump, because for every Xavier Worthy out there, I can show you Devontae Adams, who ran a 4.58 40 and was the 8th receiver taken, and he might have been him in, he's one of the best receivers for the 2014 class. Mike Evans, Devontae Adams, probably the two best receivers from that class 10 years later. One had great size. The speed didn't matter to Mike Evans. Devontae Adams dropped the 8th receiver taken, slow 40 time by other standards, but a great player. So I'm not in love with all of this stuff in all these Olympics that they, the underwear Olympics, whatever you want to call it. I'm not in love with a lot of it. I don't know why you would want to show an offensive lineman starting on his, or a defensive lineman starting on his back and then jumping up and getting into some drill. Like, I don't, it makes no sense to me. But there are certain things that transfer. One of them, if you watch the Super Bowl and you watch Joe Thuney play left tackle for Kansas City, like he was a good answer and a good Band-Aid to the Chiefs' problems at left tackle. Starting in week 14, when we went out there and he played against Myles Garrett, had a great game. But in the Super Bowl, Joe Thuney got exposed. He was a tackle at North Carolina State in college. He's been an all-pro guard. But his arm length isn't big enough to play left tackle. Jalix Hunt, Josh Sweat, these guys got the best of Jalen of them in the Super Bowl. Like, it got exposed. So arm length, it's an important measurement for defensive linemen, for offensive linemen. When DeJuan Jones goes out there and he's got an arm length of 36.5 inches, and he goes out there and does a great job in his rookie year at right tackle against T.J. Watt, you go, T.J. Watt had a hard time beating him. He just did. The length was too much. So these things are important. They're important. So you get that. You get the medical, all right? There's things out there. You get some of the red tape around players that sort of gets engulfed. You get some interviews that can be valuable if a player's had an issue, if players played in 3 different systems. What system do you prefer? Like, there's things to glean. So it's an important 5 days in Indianapolis. Plus, Jacksonville has a new general manager, okay? How's he go about his business? He's 34 years old. Him and Liam Cohen, the new regime in Jacksonville. Like, how do they conduct their business at the combine? You learn some things along the way. So I think the combine is changing. And I'm okay with the changes. Guys, we'll wait and save for the private workout. I get that. But look, Xavier Worthy last year got taken in the first round because he ran the fastest 40-yard dash at Indy ever. I think he got him taken in the first round. You could get overdrafted. Mike Mamula's name always comes up, 1995, Boston College. Eagles take him with the 7th pick. Mike Mamula was a good football player in the NFL for a long time with the Philadelphia Eagles. He's not the 7th pick. He's not a Hall of Famer, but he was a good player. Guys are going to get overdrafted based on some measurables, how high they jump, how fast they run. You can find good players at every position that have become Pro Bowl players that didn't have great combines or weren't invited to the combine. Brandon Brooks was a Pro Bowl, all-pro right guard in Houston and Philadelphia for a decade, wasn't invited to the combine, okay? So there's things you want to see. There's guys that were injured in college. They're invited to the combine. Have they overcome the injury? Are they healthy? There's value. There's value to it. I'm excited about going. It's been a while since I've been there. So I want to eyeball a lot of these kids. Like when I was at the Senior Bowl and you see this year's crop of defensive linemen, there's no question. It is the star of the upcoming draft. But all you have to do is just eyeball these kids. I don't care who it is, Mike Green, pick a name. There is talent on the defensive line. And if you want to build your defensive front, this is a good draft to go do it. The last thing I want to get to today is it now has been exposed, outed, that the Green Bay Packers have an issue with the tush push. In Philadelphia, I live here, we prefer the Philly shove. It's got its own nicknames. It has been discussed in the past now, too. This isn't the first time a team has come out and said, we want to ban this. This is our reasons. And you can find support for it. Bill Cowher came out and said, it's not a football play, it's a rugby play. There's smart people, Mark Murphy from Green Bay. It's not a football play. It doesn't have merit in our league. You want to gain a yard, go earn a yard, the old-fashioned way, quarterback sneak, whatever. I get that. But I also have the other side to it. So I remember talking to Jeff Stoutland, the Eagles offensive line coach, a couple of years ago, and it was just maybe 2 years ago when it was first came about. And Jalen Hurts was basically every fourth down, third down, yard to go, tush push, first down, touchdown, whatever. And I was like, so what's the key? And he was like, if you get to know Jeff Stoutland, he doesn't just give you information. He kind of makes you work for it. And he told me that day, it was on the field before a game, and I was asking him about it. And he basically said, when Carson Wentz was our quarterback in Philadelphia, we had a quarterback sneak rate of 36 to 38. We actually had a better percentage running quarterback sneaks than we do running the tush push. So then he was like, so is there a common denominator? So I thought, okay, you get Jason Kelce, a Hall of Fame center. Maybe that's the key. I don't know. Maybe your quarterback can be 240 pounds like Carson Wentz, and you're just a beast, and you can get it. The irony, though, about Green Bay coming out and being the team that says, let's have this for discussion. Let's vote to ban this, whatever their position is. The irony is they stopped the Eagles twice, week one in São Paulo, Brazil. And I went back and studied how they did it. I mean, this Tadero Slayton, number 93 for Green Bay, is he's 350 pounds, 360 pounds. Like his takeoff, he beat the snap of Cam Jurgens, the center, the new center of the Eagles. Like he penetrated on the snap, and he was the first one. And then they had Kenny Clark, 97. Like, first of all, his stance, he was lower than Jurgens and Landon Dickerson. And he got underneath in the A-gap, underneath both Jurgens and Dickerson with penetration. So you had one guy smashing it at 350 pounds from the top off the snap and right over Mekhi Becton, a yard penetration. And you had Kenny Clark underneath, and you had Quay Walker going over the top. I don't believe with jumping over the top. And you saw that Jalen Hurts' knee hit the ground. They were on the 33. They had to get to the 32. I think that was it. They had to gain a yard, and they stopped him. Then they stopped him with under 2 minutes to go in the game, 3rd and 1 at the goal line, in a 31-29 game. And they stopped him, forced a field goal to go 34-29. They won the game, 34-29. The two stops on the tush push that Green Bay had, and the only team to stop the Eagles twice in a game ever of the play, Green Bay did it by good technique. All right? And then they made it a close game because of their ability to stop the tush push. So I'm scratching my head going, Green Bay knows something other teams don't know about this particular play and how to defend it. Now, the other thing I'll say is it's physics. It's all physics. F equals MA. Force equals mass times acceleration. You take physics, you learn that formula. You never forget it. But, why is the Eagles pushing with Saquon Barkley, okay, and say Dallas Goedert from behind? Okay, we know Saquon is a beast in the weight room. I don't know. You watch him clean and press, you watch him deadlift, he's a beast. Why isn't another 350-pound defensive tackle pushing Slayton from behind and getting a push from the defensive line? I think the play is not – one of the reasons why the Eagles have such great success is, A, they coach it correctly. Nobody's legs are on the ground. Their feet don't leave the ground. They understand physics in teaching the play. And they're hard on it, too. Why isn't another team combating it and pushing the same way against it? And you just got a big tug of war right in the middle. I don't see anybody doing that. I don't see a 350-pound defensive tackle pushing Vita Vea from Tampa up the middle and giving him extra boost and momentum. anyways, that's my take on the tush push. Green Bay putting it out there for discussion. You know, Troy Vincent has said we'll open it up, whatever. Maybe it gets banned, maybe it doesn't. Maybe Bill Cowher's right. Maybe it's not a football play. Maybe it's a rugby play. It doesn't have any place. I can argue both sides. I'll argue that the Eagles coach it better and have perfected it better. I mean, still don't know if Josh Allen got the yard or didn't get the yard. Maybe it made the difference if they perfected the play better in that playoff game against Baltimore, and maybe they go on and play the Chiefs. I don't know. Anyways, it's for the discussion. I went back and studied it. It's on my social media. It's on my Twitter. It's on my Instagram this morning. Go take a look at it. I coach it up, show how Green Bay stopped it. Anyways, that's been the best football show. Come back here every day. We're going to be here. I'll be in Indianapolis Thursday, Friday, Saturday, talking about what I see. So come back and join me tomorrow on the best football show. Thanks for joining me, everybody. Have a great day.